Valentine's Day 2020. It's nearly 0 degrees, and I haven't really shown a video lately of how I handle really cold temperatures. The polar vortexes I've experienced in past years have been colder than this. My house has actually creaked and cracked during the night, and that doesn't happen very often. So this is what I do. Normally I would use a bed comforter instead of canvas, but you want to make sure you don't put plastic on the front of your hives. Bees put out a lot of moisture, and you want to make sure that moisture gets out of the hive. And what I've got is I've got insulation board up against the front of the hives, and I don't do this during the day, just at night. So you basically go through and you remove everything in the morning. Remove everything in the morning, let the sun hit the front of the hive, and I see a lot of people putting pollen padding on the top of their hives. I've just taken this out of the freezer. It's easier to work with them as frozen, and I cut them all up when they're frozen, and I put them right here. Make it round and it'll fit right in there, and go real slow, and the bees will get out of the way. I checked these bees at 4:30 this morning just to make sure they weren't chilled to the point where I was going to lose them. See how nice and slow I'm going with that? Just gently put it in there. Just like that. See, I try not to watch too many videos of other beekeepers on YouTube because I'm not learning anything and I don't have time. Everybody's putting their sugar on top, their pollen sugar. As much as possible, you don't want the queen up here laying. You want to keep her down here in the brood frames. So my cluster is basically right here, and all these colonies right here. When they move up above the sugar here, I get a little concerned because I don't really want the queen laying in the medium. The Russian bees that I had from Foley's Russian bees and those offspring, the queen gets up there in the medium, starts laying, and she doesn't go down to the bottom. It restricts the amount of brood you end up with in that colony. You want to keep her down here where there's all kinds of deep frames that she can lay on, not up in here. It slows down their growth. All right, let's go inside. I'll show you these are bed comforters I normally use. They're really good at letting the moisture out but trapping the heat in the front of your hive. See my window hives here? I breed all summer long. If you haven't seen my videos, I do not buy honeybees. I breed all summer long, and the small ones go in the windows. And I used Formic Pro formic acid last fall. You really need to check out my videos. It did not kill the Varroa mites. During the month of October, my bees were dying, and I finally realized that I needed to switch to oxalic acid, and that killed all the Varroa mites. And it wasn't because I didn't know how to use it. I used it before the previous year, and I didn't have any trouble. Now, my bees didn't really need to come in here, but I haven't told anybody this in my videos, but my wife has breast cancer, and I've been spending a lot of time taking her to the hospital. It's over an hour away, getting chemo, and that's what we were doing yesterday all day long. So I was worried that I wouldn't be able to bring my bees in time, and the smallest of the colonies that are outside, I brought them in. You know, can you see them there? You see, I have sugar on the top and I still have sugar down here. The bees have gone up, and I just want to make sure, rather than eating all the honey, eat some of the sugar, and then it gets moved around when I move the hive. Sometimes they tack it down, sometimes they don't. Now, I've been told, I tried to help somebody out on YouTube. He saw a video, and I told him he looked like he was scared of honeybees. And I told him, you know, when I started beekeeping, I had perfect eyesight. And I was wearing one of those actual veils, beekeeping veils. And it hurts your eyes. My eyes are always sore from trying to see through that veil. Your eyes want to focus on that veil versus focusing on the frames. And also, when I started beekeeping, I was wearing those heavy leather gloves. And I've dropped frames of bees on the ground before because I couldn't quite handle the frame. So I switched to a really thin glove, and then I don't use gloves at all now. But you can also, if your colony is really aggressive, smoke them so they can't send a signal to each other, and then wait a little while. If you check out my videos, I open a hive, I wait a few minutes, let them calm down. So the guy didn't like the comment I made about him being scared, and he said my ego was in the way of my beekeeping. No, I am a narcissist, and the reason why I'm a narcissist, because I understand how this country operates. We have the rich, they are the owners, and we have the government and the mainstream media that work for the rich. I call them the managers. They manage the people to keep things going the way they are, and basically we're just livestock. We don't think. We're all ignorant. So if you think this is a free country and we have freedom, yeah, we have freedom to spend money paying bills and taxes. And if you think this is a democracy, we have a choice between two puppet parties. Gerald Celente on YouTube, he calls them Republicans and Democrats. I love that guy. You got to check him out on YouTube. Trends Journal, he has a magazine every week. He's Gerald Celente. You know, politicians are all just con men. They're conning us, keeping this money flow going up to the rich. Everything in the U.S. is a money-making racket for the rich, including the bee industry. I'm not a big fan of the bee industry. What is bad for honeybees is good for the bee industry. I've actually talked to commercial beekeepers and I asked them, how do you make up for the losses for the Varroa mites? And he said, by selling honeybees to people. See, they're making money off the tragedies of all these inexperienced beekeepers. Look at all the products they're selling. You know, I have this veil here that my wife found on eBay. It's from China. It's like $1. I put it in my pocket, and if I end up getting aggressive bees, I can quickly put it on over my face. I don't spend a lot of money beekeeping. I build everything myself. My frames, I buy foundation because I don't have the facilities to make it. And the other issue, I had an issue with NEONICOTINOIDS last May. And the state of Michigan came right out like they were really going to help me. They took samples. And a couple months later, or a month later, they said, yeah, it's NEONICOTINOIDS from that farmer 150 yards south of me. And then a month after that, they sent me another letter saying the farmer did nothing wrong. See, our government is in bed with these corporations that are making money. Now, it used to be years ago when I was a kid, they would pay farmers not to till soil, to set it aside, let it grow wild. Now, it's all about how many acres can you till, because the seed industry, the chemical companies want these farmers to buy all their products, and they want an oversupply of commodities on the market to keep prices lower. Farmers had a record number of bankruptcies last year. Farmers aren't making money. They're chumps. The people making money are the people on top in this country. So you need to... I always vote for the lesser of two evils, even though I know that politicians are all corrupt. I try to choose the lesser of two evils. And this Bernie Sanders, he's probably the lesser of two evils. I'll vote for him, and we'll see what happens. See if he actually changes things. But, you know, any president that tries changing things, they will eliminate him. Kennedy tried to get rid of the Federal Reserve's power to control the money. And what they do, they eliminated him. And you may think I'm some kind of a nut or conspiracist, but all this information's on YouTube. And yeah, I'm a narcissist, and I have a big ego. But look what I'm doing. I'm not spending money on bees. And the reason why I brought most of my colonies in here right now, February is a time when the colonies are small and they got brood going on. If you keep them outside and you don't realize the colony's too small to keep that brood warm, they will contract their cluster, and the brood that was in that hive will get chilled and die. Sometime in March, all these trees in the area here, now it varies at least 2 weeks or so, all these trees in the area are going to blossom, and they will have pollen and nectar. And I want to try to take advantage, make sure my colony's at their peak population in order to take advantage of that See that pollen on all these trees out here? It's the safest pollen. It's not sprayed by any crop farmers. It's the safest pollen that my bees get a chance to take advantage of. Okay? It's very simple. So watch my videos. Yeah, I'm a nut, but I'm proud of it, okay?